أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Unfortunately, for obvious reasons, we can't be in the classroom setting learning our Islamic studies. However, we can make the best of our situation. And, well, the best of our situation right now is to do virtual lessons. Now, I might not look at the camera directly, right? I'm trying my best to look at the camera. However, I will look at my notes. I will look at my slides. So, just to keep, you aware I'm getting adjusted to this. But, let's just get it started. So before I'm going to do this relatively short lecture on, I believe, Unit B, Chapter 5, I'm going to cover the homework from last week, I believe. So last week I assigned B41 study questions, and I did it on the Google Forms. Email me if you have any trouble with that, right? If you can't access the Google Forms for some weird reason, you could always email me at fozanamjad@gmail.com. All right. So question number 1: Who took care of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam after his grandfather died? So as you all know, he became an orphan, right? Even before he was born, his father died, right? Because he went on that trip to, I believe, Yathrib, right, which is present day Medina. And then after those 6 years, or after those couple years that he was with Halima to become a healthy child, to learn beautiful Arabic, after that, when he went back to his mother shortly died after that. Then his grandfather, the leader of Makkah, that we learned from the Year of the Elephant story, Abdul Muttalib, right? He is his grandfather through his father's side. He took him in, however, he died after that. So now, not only did he have no mother, now he had no father either. He was an orphan, and on top of that, Abdul Muttalib, his grandfather, died, and his grandfather was actually a pretty big guy in Makkah. Now, who took him in? To answer your question, it will be Abu Talib. Abu Talib was, again, the uncle of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he was his uncle through his father's side. So he was the son of Abdul Muttalib, and he was the brother of Abdullah. Abdullah was Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam's father. So Abu Muttalib is the answer to number 1. Number 2, how did the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam try to help out his uncle? This is a relatively easy question, right? Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was a very thankful person, because think about it. Abu Talib, he couldn't really provide. Well, it was very hard to provide for himself and his family, but he was willing to take in Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam despite not having enough resources to feed another mouth. So Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was very thankful because Abu Talib was working harder for him, right? Harder than Abu Talib was, to support him. So Prophet ﷺ, to thank his uncle, he became a shepherd. And question number 3: What did the people of Makkah do that Prophet Muhammad ﷺ disliked? Prophet Muhammad ﷺ disliked idol worshipping. Right before now, this is a common misconception. The pagans that were in Mecca at that time, some believe that you might think that they don't believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's actually incorrect. They do believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? But they think that by worshipping idols, they can get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, which doesn't make sense from the standpoint of us, but furthermore, it's from the standpoint of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam realized that idol worshipping was not the best way to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. There had to be one big creator, right, that created the universe so perfectly, right? And he wanted to worship him directly, and he wanted to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala correctly. Alright? So he didn't like how people were worshiping idols, man-made things that, that he thought was insignificant. Right? He wanted to worship one creator that he knew created everything. Question number 4: What was Prophet Muhammad's first job? Well, his first job was becoming a shepherd to help out his uncle. Question number 5: Why did the Prophet Muhammad go up to the mountains? This is the same reason why he was able to become a shepherd. One thing that he got from being a shepherd, from going to the mountains, was the ability to think for himself. Right now, a lot of people in this world, right, their opinions, right, their look on society, their look on other people, it's swayed or skewed because they are listening to other people, right? And then other people impact what they believe in, right? So he thinks that, idol worshippers are only worshiping idols because, well, they're not thinking for themselves, right? They think that because, their ancestors did it, right? Their fathers, their grandfathers did it, they should be doing it too. And people around them are doing it, so there's nothing bad about it, right? But by thinking for himself, he was able to say, hey, maybe idol worshiping is not the way to God. Maybe to God was directly worshiping Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, right? So the reason why he was going to the mountains was to think freely, right? From away from other people. So, that's where his concentration got very good. Alrighty, so let's go on to the lecture. Our lecture is on Unit B, Chapter 5, As-Sadiq Al-Ameen. As-Sadiq Al-Ameen means the truthful, the trusted. So who do you think that is? Alright, let me get here's a couple do now questions that you could do. I don't really care if you do it in your mind. I don't really care if you do it in your notebook. Just, answer these questions. You'll probably answer these questions easily if you have already read this chapter. Alright, which you should be doing, but prior to my lectures. I do like people reading before coming to class, because it it allows them to basically get a head start. Word watch, As-Sadiq Al-Ameen, right? I think I already did that vocab word, so we already one down. And then Al-Hajar Al-Aswad. Alrighty, Prophet Muhammad becomes a merchant, whatever, right? So when Prophet Muhammad was a young man, right, he was basically renowned. He was basically known, as As-Sadiq Al-Ameen. As-Sadiq Al-Ameen means the truthful and the trusted, and that's sort of something that becomes a thing after many, many years, that you build a reputation for, right? That reputation builds over time through different interactions with your friends, with different interactions with your community, with different interactions with just people in general, right? If you think about it, right, when you meet a stranger, do you trust them or do you not trust them? Well, you don't know anything about them, so theoretically you shouldn't be trusting them, right? But Prophet ﷺ, over time, right, people knew about Prophet ﷺ, right? Now, this is when he was 25, right? And the story that I'm going to cover later is when he was 35. But he becomes a merchant at 25 years old, and when he's a merchant, what do you do, right? When you're a trader, just like Abu Talib, right? What do? You travel a lot, right? And when you travel a lot, you're also talking to a lot of people because you're exchanging goods with them, right? When you go to like the cash register, right? I don't think you would just have a quiet conversation with them, right? I'm not saying that you're gonna have like a full blown out conversation like you would with your friend. However, you're gonna have some type of interaction, right? And a lot in these trading expeditions, and a lot of these, interactions, some people might be rude, some people might be, arrogant, some people might cheat someone out of something, right? You see this even today, right? People are cheating scamming, sorry, that's the better word, scamming, right? People might scam people to get more money. Prophet ﷺ, he wasn't that type of person, right? And after 10 years of trading, right, he started at 25. The story I'm about to tell you is when he was 35. And he became a prophet, just for reference purposes, he became a prophet at 40 years old, around 40 years old. So he still has another 5 years until he gets the first revelation from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So he builds up this reputation that he is the truthful, he is the trusted. Alrighty, let's move on to the next slide. Alright, Muhammad solves a problem. So when Prophet ﷺ was 35 years old, the Quraysh, which was the tribe in Makkah at the time, What they wanted to do was rebuild the Al-Kaaba, or rather renovate it. The reason why was because there was a great flood, right, in the Al-Kaaba, or rather Al-Masjid al-Haram, the location there, right? And what happens in a big flood, right? When a big flood happens, right, some things might get weakened, a lot of structures might get weakened. They also might not, work properly, or they might not look as good, right? Now, the Al Kaaba is a very significant place of worship. In fact, I would even go to as far as saying it's probably one of the most sacred places on Earth right now. Simply because of the amount of people that go there every year. I mean, every day. Not right now, obviously, due to the virus, but on an average day, a lot of people are going from across the entire world, right? So even back then that was the case, right? People came all over from Arabia to visit the Al-Kaaba simply because it was so significant, not only to their culture but to their religion. It was their way of getting to God, which was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So there was a great flood and it basically got weakened. There were some aspects of it that needed to be renovated. So they renovated it, right? And they were going well, they were chilling basically until they had to put Al-Hajar al-Aswad. Al-Hajar al-Aswad is the black stone. Now, I don't think it was covered. Maybe you might know this from previous years. You'll learn it later in the Islamic curriculum in Islamic years. But I'll tell you right now, right? When Prophet Ibrahim was rebuilding the Al-Kaaba with Prophet Ismail alayhi salam, not prophet, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala basically brought down a stone. It used to be a white stone, right? It was a white stone from Jannah, right? Jannah being paradise. He brought it down to the earth, right? And then Prophet Ibrahim and Prophet Ismail put it into the Al-Kaaba. It's in the corner of the Al-Kaaba. Right now, initially it used to be a white stone because Jannah, and then it became a black stone simply because of how there were so many bad deeds going on Earth, right? So the bad deeds turned it black, which is a pretty interesting thing. It's pretty interesting to say, hey, this white stone became a black stone simply because of all the bad deeds that were happening on Earth. But nonetheless, that's not the point. The point of this story was that it's a very important stone. Al-Hajar al-Aswad, it's a very important stone. People across the world want to see it, right? When they go to Hajj, when they go to Umrah. And some might even attempt to kiss it. It's very hard to because of how many people are trying to do it at the same time. So a fight broke out with the chiefs. They were like, hey, I want to put it in. No. I want to put it in. And they're like, no, I want to put it in. So there's like all these chiefs, and they all want to get the honor of putting the black stone, Al-Hajj al-Aswad, the stone that they believe came from Jannah, right? That Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought down, right? They wanted to put it back into the Al-Kaaba, and basically it was a testament to, the renovation of Al-Kaaba was complete. So then the oldest guy there, the oldest chief there, you might even say the wisest, again, oldest, I'm going to say oldest, he suggested something. He was like, all right. The person that should choose to put the to put Al-Hajar al-Aswad back into the Al-Kaaba should be the next person walking into the mosque. Or rather, should be the next person walking in to the Al-Kaaba. And if you don't understand what I just said, basically the chief suggested whoever came in next will be able to put in Al-Hajar al-Aswad. Alright? He would choose the chief to put it in. And guess who came? Prophet Adam. Nah, I'm joking. Prophet Adam, no. Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, why do you think that is? Probably because it's in the will of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made sure that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam, right, that people recognize as Sadiq al-Ameen, would be the next person to enter the Al-Kaaba. And basically they all wanted to see, hey, who would Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam choose? Again, not Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wasallam at the time, 35 years old. They wanted to see who would Muhammad choose. And Muhammad, instead of choosing just one person, right, based on what they were saying, what he decided to do was he got a piece of cloth, right? He got a piece of cloth. Now I have like a piece of paper here with some like accounting stuff, but he got a piece of cloth, right? And then he told all the chiefs to hold one piece of the cloth, or one corner of the cloth. So one chief got this corner, one chief got this corner, one chief got this corner, and then I hope wait, did another chief take this corner? Who knows? Anyway, each chief got a corner. And then what Prophet ﷺ did was he put the stone, or al-Hajar al-Aswad, on that piece of cloth. And what they all did was that together they brought al-Hajar al-Aswad back to the al-Kaaba. And then Prophet ﷺ took the stone and then he put it into the al-Kaaba, right, himself. So basically Prophet ﷺ solved the problem that did not just choose one person, right, or exclude three people. He basically proposed a solution that worked. He proposed a solution where all the chiefs are working together coherently to put the Al-Hajar al-Aswad back into the Al-Kaaba. And this would be a scary problem because think about it, right? If all the chiefs are fighting, right, and, well, only one of them gets to put Al-Hajar al-Aswad, some fight would probably break up later, right? They might say, hey, we'll leave it for now, whatever, I don't care, right? But, later on, they would have like this massive grudge saying, hey, he put it in. Why does he get to do this? Why does he have higher priority chiefs? And then, you don't want some bunch of chiefs fighting because that's a political issue. But back to the point, Prophet ﷺ made sure that all of them equally, all the chiefs equally from all the tribes, were allowed or equally put Al-Hajar al-Aswad back into the Al-Kaaba, right? And that's why Prophet ﷺ is really respected. That's why he was able to build that reputation. Not only because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made sure that he was in the right place at the right time due to his will, right? But because Prophet ﷺ never told a lie. He was always kind. He was never arrogant. He never did anything for self, what's the right word? He wasn't basically arrogant, to basically repeat myself, right? He didn't do everything out of self-interest. He wanted to do it for the common good, the greater good. And what was the greater good? Making sure that everybody was peaceful, making sure that everybody would work together rather than excluding three other people and giving this one privilege to one chief. Alright, so let's see what habits we learn. Be fair and honest so people will trust you. I feel like this goes without explaining, but I'll explain it anyway. Here's the deal. If you're not going to be honest with someone, if you're going to lie to someone, and you're just going to play unfairly, right? It could be, I'm not just talking about life in general. I'm talking about everything, right? Interaction with your parents, interaction with your friends, interaction in school, right? If you're not going to be honest, right, nobody's going to trust you, right? I mean, why would they trust you? Because if you're telling lies, right, they're just going to think, hey, you lied this time. What stops you from telling a lie again? Because they know that you have the capability to lie. And if you have the capability to lie, right, and if you've lied before, they believe that you're going to lie multiple times in the future. That this is not your first time, nor it's going to be your last, right? So save them the effort. Save them that thought. And rather than, just lying in the first place, just be honest, right? Because if you're honest, right, what's the worst that can happen, right? I mean, I know that you might be scared, right? But if you're going to be honest, right, if you're going to be fair, make sure those are together. Because if you're not going to be fair, if you're not going to be honest, people are just not going to like you, right? And I know that's, a bit over, but not over. I know that might sound a bit harsh, but it's the truth, right? If you're not fair, if you're not honest, people are just going to straight up just not like you, all right? So rather than thinking that, hey, I'm scared that they won't like me. I'm scared that, I won't be respected. You know what the most respectful thing you could do? Never lie. Because if you can never lie, right? They always have a reason to trust you. Second healthy habit, try always to solve problems between others, as we saw with Prophet ﷺ, right? He could have theoretically just chose one person and hey, one chief, and then they could do it. But he realized that there would be long-term implications, long-term problems, future problems that could arise simply because of his decision. So what he did was he did something that benefited all the chiefs, right? In a way where they were all equal, in a way that they all worked coherently to avoid a scary problem, a political problem that could affect him, affect the entire community years in the future, right? So, whenever you confront a problem, whenever you're basically in power, or not power, when you're basically in control of a problem, try to find the best solution that benefits everybody, right? Because if someone is excluded, right? If someone is like, not benefiting, rather not benefiting, is if there's someone getting a detrimental effect on them simply because of your decision, right? That's one unhappy person that you've made, right? So first of all, try not to be even in those situations that like arise a fight. So if a problem is a fight, try to be in a situation where you're not even starting the fight to begin with. Now, if you're in a problem already, right, try to find the best solution. This could be either through, forgiving everybody, or it could be including everybody into a. I'm not saying include everybody into a fight. That's not what I'm trying to say. However, don't exclude everybody. Now, with elementary school students, right, like you guys, what does this mean? What I'm trying to say is, if there's something wrong with the kickball field, right, try to find a solution that benefits both teams. If you see someone that's sad in the corner, they don't have anyone to talk to, try to be that friend to talk with them, right? Because not only do you look good in front of Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, but you look good in front of you, right? That's like the best feeling that you can get. The best feeling that you could probably get is helping someone else, because if you help someone else, right, you know that you've done something good. I don't know how to describe it. It's like that warm, bubbly feeling that you get from doing good, right? If you're doing something good, there's a reason why you get that good feeling, because you want to do it again. So create that habit. Create that habit of solving problems and doing good. And to build up that good reputation, be fair and honest, because people respect and people like people that are fair and honest, because it gives them a reason to trust them. It gives them a reason to go to them. Similarly, in the story of Prophet ﷺ with the Al-Hajj al-Aswad, right? People did trust Prophet ﷺ to make the right decision, right? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made sure that he was in the right place at the right time, so that he was even given the ability to make such an important decision. All right. The fun work. The fun work is going to be page B51 study questions. Now, you're not going to email them to me. What you're going to do is you're going to put them in the Google form. So I'm going to put a link up like last week, and then you're just going to type out your answers there. All right? So you're just going to type up your answers there and then submit it. The reason why I do that is because, well, I get that notification. I'm able to basically answer it, give you feedback. I'm allowed to grade it, and then I can email you back your answers, and I could also email back you your score. So that just allows me to get things done faster and allows you to get things back faster. All right, so B51 study questions on the Google Forms. So that's the fun work for today. And there's also a surah. I believe the surah is Surat al-Ashar. Surat Ashar. Try your best to memorize it. Again, I'm not enforcing you to memorize surahs, right? This is because you have some free time, right? And in this free time, I think it's very good to basically, in a weird sense, build up your arsenal. I want you to build up a bunch of surahs, because I know that a lot of you guys, when you're praying, right, you're probably saying the same surahs over and over again, right? It could be Surah Al-Ikhlas, you're probably doing Surah Al-Nas. Again, the last three surahs, the last 4 or 5 surahs of the Quran, and that's fine, right? I'm not trying to say, hey, that's a bad thing. It's a very good thing that you're praying, right? But I also want you to sort of use other surahs, right? I don't want you to keep saying the same surahs over and over and over again. So try to memorize more surahs. This today is Surat Ashar. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. It's only 8 ayats, right? And if you memorize it, you have another surah to use when you're praying, right? So use this time wisely. All right. I'm not enforcing it, but I'm suggesting it for your fun work, right? And it would be fun to use it in prayer. All right. That's all for now, folks. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.